Hello and welcome to a video that's full of problems, which isn't that unusual I suppose down here at P&HQ. A couple of them are easy to deal with, one of them isn't. Yesterday I did a post on Facebook with that familiar whirring sound that you hear with the Rover immobiliser, convinced that my key fob had gone wrong, because they can go wrong. Suddenly your key fob can be out of sync with the immobiliser and you need a special tool to get it back right, which is the P-scan. So I asked if anybody had a P-scan, but before this I did take the battery out and test it, and it was showing 2.9 volts, which should have been enough to switch the immobiliser off and unlock the doors, etc. I also tested the batteries of a couple of other fobs that are working. One was 2.85 and one was 2.9. So my presumption was definitely fob. And then I found a battery with 3.2 volts and it works. Why does this car need to have a lot more power in the fob than the rest of them? Just why? No wonder I was confused. Mabel, the 414, has developed a rather noisy exhaust, which surprised me a little bit because the back box is only a couple of years old and the middle section is newer than that, and then the catalytic converter is even newer than that as well. But, you know, so I put it on the ramp and it actually just needed tightening up.
Hard to know if this time.
That problem was so insignificant, it's hardly worthwhile me showing you. After those things sorted, I can relax a little bit, except for problem number 3, which is a bit more of an issue. Insurance renewal. That's tomorrow. I was expecting it to have gone down. After all, that's 7 years, full no claims I have. But it's not gone down, it's gone up, and it's gone significantly up. In fact, to the tune of about £700, which it was already way too much to start with, so I've had to find the deposit today of £291, and then it's £260 odd a bloody month. Gosh, it sounds like I'm complaining, and I am. I've considered myself to be quite a low risk. I'm not old enough to be careless. I'm not young enough to be careless. I'm right in that sweet spot where I can drive around and not really be any kind of issue whatsoever. So, unfortunately, something's going to have to give in order for me to carry on going. What's more important? Hanging on to a car that I really would like to keep and I'm never going to get hold of another one ever again, or just being able to keep up with bills? I think I know, you know, that I know what the answer is. I've got to think clearly and quickly about what to do next, because the easy solution would be to sell on Tony the 827, but I really don't want to do. But I don't actually need it, do I? Gosh, I need some washer fluid in there. A few months back I had to sell my Volvo V70, which I didn't want to do. And many of the people who follow my channel understood the reason for it, and I didn't regret selling it, because it left me free to carry on with what I'm doing. A couple of suggestions were, why not just get a job? And there are 2 issues with that. One is that the 6-week holiday that I'm experiencing at the moment is my time of freedom, where I don't need to worry about doing any home education. The rest of the time I have to be available at home to teach my girls as best as I can, because they're not in school, because they couldn't get into school. We can't get them into a school. My hands are tied with this particular thing. Now, if I then chose to find some evening work, it would be the absolute end of Project Nigel as we know it. And as daft as it may sound to some, is the one thing that stops me from being a really miserable twat. Having a creative outlet is more important to me than having money even to this extent. So this is going to sound even more unusual, but I quite like problems in the same way that you might like a crossword or a puzzle or a riddle to solve or a game show. Problems give us the opportunity to find solutions. Somehow the obvious solution is a bit of a cop-out sometimes. And I'd like to use my creativity to find a solution that I would only need to discover by having the problem in the first place. After all of the excitement around it, after the joy of driving something that is 37 years old, I am not doing this for the fun of it. It seems to be the only solution. Or is it? I think at the moment, yes. But I could just have a look around the yard to see what else I could do first. It's more a case of what I can do as well, rather than instead. Video out for the MGF over there, which I shall take a cut out of. And then there's Voivod, which needs the head gasket doing. I'm going to clean that up, put that one up for sale, but it won't really solve the long-term problem. Just free up a bit of space, if anything. In the meantime, I've already done a post for this car on that very same Facebook, where I've had a lot of people saying to me, that's a lot for insurance, why don't you just have it on a classic policy, which unfortunately doesn't really understand the point. You see, I've got to have my trader's policy regardless. So if I put this on a classic policy, which would be a lot less, that would be more. Still, I welcome these responses because chances are I didn't really explain myself very well. Tony needs a wash, but just, that's all really. The exterior is in rather fabulous condition, except for this crack on the bumper just there. Having driven sort of about 250 miles in the Astra that I have yesterday, it's easy to forget just how comfortable seats can be. As soon as I sat in this, I just wanted to stay here. These are the best seats ever in a car. Simple as that. But that isn't necessarily all that relevant. What is relevant though is what this car does actually still need. And besides a little bit of cosmetics, and there isn't much, it needs the top dead center sensor looking at, because although this car does start and run perfectly well once it has started, it does take a bit of turning over to get there. And if you've watched any of the previous videos about this car, you'll already know that. 30 minutes after putting that 25 up for sale, already some serious interest. Brilliant. Shame that that one car can't completely finish off the issue with having to sell the 827. It still has to go. And more exciting stuff going on today is the partial solar eclipse, which I'm sure that everybody knows about. It's a new moon, and that means it's that kind of moon that you can barely see at night time because it's just a little slither, whilst it's being reflected from the other side. And somebody out there is bound to say, well, if that's the only bit of the moon you can see, how's it going to create an eclipse? Because you're only going to have that much of the sun covered up. I'm expecting many people to say to me, oh, you're mad if you get rid of that because you'll never find another one. I know that. I do know that. But what kind of a man would I be if I'm in a position where I've got this huge insurance bill to pay and I hang on to something that could pay for it? What kind of a chap would I be? I'd be a daft one. That's exactly why vehicles like this come in handy, because they're essentially assets. One day, when my YouTube channel is big, famous, and brings in lots and lots of money, I won't have to make such decisions. But for the moment, I do. And so that is the end of this. Tony, the Rover 827 SI, needs to go for sale. And I'm going to start at around £3,000. So if anybody's got any offers that you'd like to bung on the table, just do so before I advertise it. I mean, this is essentially a bit like an advert anyway, but there we go. Thank you for watching. Next step, put it on Facebook Marketplace, but it might not come to that. Bye bye.